I never imagined that a simple Sunday lunch invitation would be the beginning of my daughter's plan to end my life. But 20 minutes after eating her homemade pie, my heart began racing uncontrollably, and the room started spinning. My name is Robert Harrison, and at 67 years old, I thought I'd seen enough of life to recognize when something was wrong. But I never suspected that the person serving me poisoned food would be my own daughter. It started 3 months earlier, when Sarah called me out of the blue. We hadn't spoken much since her mother passed away 2 years ago. Our relationship had always been cordial but distant. She was busy with her real estate business in Melbourne, and I was content in my small house in Bendigo, tending my garden and volunteering at the local library. "Dad, I've been thinking," she said over the phone. "We should spend more time together. You're not getting any younger, and I want to make up for lost time." Her words touched me. After losing Margaret, my late wife, I'd felt the loneliness creep in slowly. The house felt too big, too quiet. Sarah's sudden interest in reconnecting seemed like a blessing. "I'd like that, sweetheart," I told her. Over the next few weeks, Sarah visited regularly. She'd drive the 2 hours from Melbourne every Sunday, bringing groceries, helping with yard work, and cooking meals. It felt wonderful to have my daughter back in my life. We'd sit on the back porch, drinking tea, and talking about everything. Her work, her boyfriend Marcus, her plans for the future. "You know, Dad," she said one afternoon, "you should really update your will. Have you thought about what happens to this place when you're gone?" The question caught me off guard. "I haven't really thought about it much. Why do you ask?" "I'm just worried about you," she said, squeezing my hand. "Estate planning is important. I see it all the time in real estate families fighting over properties after someone passes. I don't want that for us." It seemed reasonable enough. Sarah even arranged for me to meet with her lawyer, a slick young man named Trevor, who talked fast and smiled too much. Within a week, I'd signed new documents, leaving everything to Sarah. She was my only child. After all, who else would I leave it to? "There's one more thing, Dad," Sarah said the following Sunday. "I think you should get a life insurance policy. Just something small, to cover funeral expenses and any debts." "I don't have any debts," I said, "but you never know what might happen. Medical bills, aged care costs, they add up quickly. Please, just for my peace of mind." I agreed. Sarah handled everything. A week later, I signed the papers for a $500,000 policy. It seemed excessive, but Sarah insisted it was standard. "You've worked hard all your life, Dad. You deserve to leave something behind," she said. Looking back now, I should have seen the signs. But when your own child tells you they care, when they show up week after week with a smile and a home-cooked meal, you want to believe them. You need to believe them. The Sunday it happened started like any other. Sarah arrived at noon with bags of groceries and a bright smile. "I'm making your favorite today," she announced. "Steak and mushroom pie, just like Mum used to make." I helped her in the kitchen, chopping vegetables while she worked on the pastry. We laughed and talked. She told me about a difficult property sale, about Marcus's promotion at work, about their plans to buy a house together. "Actually, Dad, that's something I wanted to talk to you about," she said, not meeting my eyes. "Marcus and I are looking at houses, but the market's tough right now. We're a bit short on the deposit." "How much do you need?" I asked. "About 80,000, she said quickly. "I know it's a lot, but we'd pay you back." I just thought, with the equity in your house, $80,000. It was a substantial sum, but Sarah was my daughter. If she needed help, what kind of father would I be to refuse? "Let me think about it," I told her. Something flickered across her face. Disappointment? Anger? But it vanished so quickly I thought I'd imagined it. "Of course, Dad. No pressure. Now, let's get this pie in the oven." We ate lunch on the back porch, as we always did. The pie was delicious, rich, savory, exactly how Margaret used to make it. Sarah watched me eat, smiling. Good? She asked. Perfect, I said. You've got your mother's touch. About 20 minutes after I finished my second slice, my chest began to feel tight. My heart was pounding so hard, I could hear it in my ears. The fork slipped from my hand and clattered onto the plate. Dad, are you okay? Sarah's voice sounded far away. The porch seemed to tilt sideways. I tried to stand up, but my legs wouldn't support me. I collapsed back into the chair, gasping for air. Dad! Oh my God! I could hear Sarah on the phone. Her voice panicked. Ambulance! Please! My father's having a heart attack! The next few minutes were a blur. Paramedics arrived. Needles, oxygen mask, questions I couldn't answer. Sarah rode in the ambulance with me, holding my hand, crying, Please don't die, Dad. Please. At Bendigo Hospital, they rushed me into emergency. Dr. Patricia Walsh, a sharp-eyed woman in her early 50s, took charge immediately. Mr. Harrison, can you hear me? Do you have any history of heart problems? I shook my head weakly. Any medications you're taking? Just blood pressure tablets. I managed to whisper. They ran tests, ECG, blood work, everything. I drifted in and out of consciousness. When I finally woke up properly, it was dark outside. Sarah was sitting beside my bed, scrolling through her phone. How are you feeling? She asked, when she noticed I was awake. Like I've been hit by a truck, I said. Dr. Walsh came in shortly after, holding a tablet with my test results. Mr. Harrison, the good news is you didn't have a heart attack. However, your blood tests show some concerning results. We found elevated levels of certain substances that shouldn't be there. What kind of substances? Sarah asked quickly. Doctor. Walsh looked at her, then at me. I'd like to run some additional tests tomorrow. For now, Mr. Harrison needs rest. After Dr. Walsh left, Sarah stood up. I should get going. Long drive back to Melbourne. I'll come see you tomorrow, okay? She kissed my forehead, but something about it felt wrong. Cold. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying the afternoon. The tightness in my chest had started exactly 20 minutes after eating the pie. 20 minutes, the typical onset time for many types of poisoning. No. That was ridiculous. Sarah was my daughter. She'd been nothing but caring these past months. But then I remembered her face when I said I needed to think about the loan. The flash of anger. And before that, her insistence on the life insurance. The will. The lawyer who smiled too much. I pressed the call button. A night nurse appeared. Could you get Dr. Walsh for me? It's urgent. The nurse looked doubtful. Doctor, Walsh finished her shift hours ago. Please. I need to speak with her. It's about my test results. Something in my voice must have convinced her, because she nodded and left. 15 minutes later, Dr. Walsh appeared, looking tired but alert. Mr. Harrison, what's this about? The substances you found in my blood, I said. What were they? She hesitated. We're still analyzing them, but preliminary results suggest foxglove poisoning. Do you have foxglove plants in your garden? Foxglove, digitalis. I knew it well. Beautiful purple flowers that grew wild in parts of Victoria. Also, highly toxic. Causes rapid heartbeat, nausea, confusion. In high enough doses, it's fatal. I don't have foxglove in my garden, I said slowly. But I know someone who does. Sarah's house in Melbourne. She'd shown me her garden 6 months ago, proud of the English cottage flowers she'd planted. Purple foxglove, prominent in the back corner. Dr. Walsh's expression sharpened. Mr. Harrison, do you have reason to believe someone might have poisoned you deliberately? My daughter made me lunch today. I said. Steak and mushroom pie. She served it. I started feeling ill exactly 20 minutes after eating. That timing is consistent with foxglove poisoning, Dr. Walsh said carefully. The symptoms typically appear 15 to 30 minutes after ingestion. There's more, I said, and told her everything. The sudden rekindling of our relationship, the will, the life insurance, the request for $80,000 just hours before I collapsed. Dr. Walsh listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Mr. Harrison, these are serious allegations. If what you're suggesting is true, then my daughter tried to kill me for my life insurance. I finished. I need to call the police, Dr. Walsh said. No, I said quickly. Not yet. If you call the police now, she'll know we're suspicious. She'll destroy any evidence. The pie is probably already gone. What are you proposing? Let her think she succeeded, I said. Tell her I'm critically ill, that the poisoning damaged my heart severely, that it's only a matter of time. Dr. Walsh looked troubled. That's highly irregular. Please, I said. I need to know the truth. I need proof. If I'm wrong about my own daughter, I'll apologize for the rest of my life. But if I'm right, if you're right, she's attempted murder, Dr. Walsh said quietly. She thought for a long moment. I lost my father to elder abuse 10 years ago. His new wife slowly isolated him, convinced him to change his will, then neglected him until he died of preventable complications. I swore I'd never let something like that happen on my watch again. Will you help me? I asked. What do you need? Over the next 2 days, we planned carefully. Dr. Walsh would tell Sarah that my condition had deteriorated, that the poison had caused severe damage to my heart, and that I likely wouldn't survive more than a few weeks. She'd recommend I be transferred to palliative care. Meanwhile, I contacted my old friend Jack Morrison, a retired detective who'd worked homicide for 30 years before retiring to Bendigo. Bobby, what you're describing sounds like attempted murder, Jack said when I called him from the hospital phone. You need to go to the police. I will, I said. But I need evidence first. Jack, she's my daughter. If I'm wrong about this, if there's some other explanation, then you'll owe her a massive apology, Jack said. But your gut is telling you something's wrong, and in my experience, people's guts are usually right about this kind of thing. What do you need from me? Can you look into Sarah's finances? See if there's a reason she'd need money badly enough to I couldn't finish the sentence. I'll make some calls, Jack said. Dr. Walsh spoke to Sarah the next day. I pretended to be asleep when my daughter arrived, watching her through barely open eyes. I'm afraid the news isn't good, Dr. Walsh said. The poison caused significant damage to your father's heart. We're doing everything we can. But realistically, we're looking at weeks, possibly days. Oh God, Sarah said, but her eyes were dry. We'll keep him comfortable. You might want to consider arranging for palliative care or bringing him home with nursing support for his final days. Home, Sarah said quickly. He'd want to be at home. That can be arranged. I'll have the social worker discuss the details with you. After Dr. Walsh left, Sarah sat beside my bed. I kept my breathing slow and steady, feigning sleep. I heard her phone buzz. She answered, in a whisper. Marcus, it's happening. The doctor says it's just a matter of time now. A pause. I know. But once he's gone, we'll have the life insurance. $500,000. We can pay off your gambling debts and still have plenty left for the house. Gambling debts. So that was it. I'll arrange to bring him home tomorrow. Sarah continued. It'll look more natural that way. Old man dies at home in his sleep. No one questions it. She hung up and sat there for a few more minutes. Then she did something that made my blood run cold. She leaned close and whispered, "I'm sorry, Dad, but you had a good life. You're old. Some of us deserve a chance now. It's better this way." She kissed my forehead and left. I opened my eyes, my heart pounding, not from poison this time, but from the devastating confirmation that my own daughter had tried to kill me and was planning to finish the job. Dr. Walsh came in minutes later. "Did you hear?" "Every word," I said. "She has a boyfriend with gambling debts. Marcus. They need the life insurance money." I took the liberty of recording the conversation, Dr. Walsh said, holding up her phone. "The room has security cameras, but no audio. However, I was standing just outside the door. With this, she played back the recording. Sarah's voice came through clearly. "It'll look more natural that way. Old man dies at home in his sleep. That's evidence," I said. "It's a start," Dr. Walsh replied. "But we need more. We need to prove she actually poisoned you." Jack called that evening with information that made everything make sense. "Your daughter's boyfriend, Marcus Chen. He's in deep," Jack said. "Owes about 200,000 to a very unpleasant group of people in Melbourne. People who don't take kindly to unpaid debts. Sarah herself has been struggling. Her real estate business is failing. She's got 3 properties she can't sell, mortgaged to the hilt. Together, they're drowning. And my life insurance was their way out," I said. "Looks like it," Jack confirmed. I also checked death records. Interesting thing, Sarah's boyfriend's mother died 8 months ago. Heart attack, apparently. She also had a life insurance policy. $250,000. All went to Marcus. "You think?" "I think it's worth looking into," Jack said carefully. "Bobby, you need to be very careful here. If they've done this before and gotten away with it, they won't hesitate to do it again." Dr. Walsh had already arranged for the police to be involved, but discreetly, Detective Sarah Chen, no relation to Marcus, was heading the investigation. "We need to catch her in the act," Detective Chen said when we met. "Right now, we have suspicious circumstances, but a decent lawyer could argue coincidence. We need solid proof of intent. So what do we do?" I asked. "You go home," Detective Chen said. "We'll set up surveillance. Cameras. Audio recording. If she tries to poison you again, we'll have her." The plan terrified me, but it was the only way. 2 days later, Sarah drove me home from the hospital. She'd arranged for a hospital bed to be set up in my living room and hired a nurse to visit twice daily. "I want to take care of you myself," Sarah said as she helped me into bed. "It's the least I can do." "The least you can do," I thought bitterly, "is not try to kill your father." That evening, she made dinner. "Soup," she said, "easy to digest for someone in my condition." I watched her in the kitchen, saw her glance toward the back door, then pull something from her handbag, a small bottle. She added a few drops to my soup bowl. My hands shook as she brought it to me, but I forced myself to stay calm. Detective Chen and 2 other officers were parked in an unmarked car down the street, watching through the hidden cameras we'd installed throughout the house. "I'm not very hungry," I said. "You need to eat, Dad. Keep your strength up." "Maybe later," I insisted. Frustration flashed across her face, but she smiled. "Okay, I'll just leave it here for you." After she left for the night, Detective Chen came inside. He photographed the soup, took samples, then disposed of it safely. "We found traces of foxglove in the sample we tested," he told me the next day. "Same as what was in your system at the hospital. But we need more. We need to catch her with the poison in her possession and prove she's been cultivating foxglove specifically for this purpose." The next part of the plan was risky. I would tell Sarah I'd decided to change my will one more time, leaving half my estate to the library foundation I volunteered with. This would force her hand. She'd need to act quickly before I could make the changes official. When I told her, the mask slipped completely. "What?" she snapped. Why would you do that? I've been thinking about my legacy, I said weakly. The library has meant so much to me. I want to give something back. You're giving me everything, she said, her voice hard. We agreed. You're still getting half. I need all of it, Dad. The words burst out before she could stop them. She caught herself, forced a smile. I mean, of course you can do whatever you want with your money. It's just, I thought we understood each other. We do, I said. But I haven't changed anything yet. The lawyer's coming next week. I saw the calculation in her eyes. Next week. She had less than 7 days. She acted that night. I was lying in bed, genuinely exhausted from the stress and the lingering effects of the poisoning, when I heard her car pull up outside. It was past midnight. She wasn't supposed to be here. I pressed the panic button. Detective Chen had given me a small device disguised as a TV remote. Then I closed my eyes and waited. I heard the back door open quietly. Footsteps in the kitchen. The refrigerator opening. Liquid being poured. Through my barely open eyes, I saw Sarah approach my bedside. She was holding a glass of water. Dad? She whispered. Dad, are you awake? I didn't respond. She set the glass on the bedside table, then pulled a pillow from the chair. My heart began racing as I realized what she intended to do. She stood there for a long moment, pillow in hand, staring down at me. In that moment, I saw my little girl, the one who'd learned to ride a bike in our driveway, who'd cried when her goldfish died, who'd walked down the aisle at her university graduation with tears of joy streaming down her face. Where had that girl gone? What had turned her into this? I'm sorry, she whispered again. I'm so sorry, Dad. She raised the pillow. The lights blazed on. Police! Step away from the bed! Detective Chen and 2 uniformed officers burst through the front door. Sarah froze, pillow still raised, her face twisted with shock and fear. Sarah Harrison. You're under arrest for attempted murder. The pillow fell from her hands. No. No. This isn't what it looks like. He was uncomfortable. I was adjusting his pillow. We've been watching for 3 days, Miss Harrison, Detective Chen said. We have you on camera adding poison to your father's soup. We have recordings of you discussing his death with your boyfriend. We have evidence that you've been cultivating foxglove in your Melbourne property. We have evidence of the first poisoning incident. It's over. Sarah looked at me then. Really looked at me. Saw that I was awake, alert, watching her. You set me up, she whispered. Your own daughter. You tried to kill me, I said, my voice breaking. Your own father. I needed the money. Marcus's debts, they were going to kill him. So you decided to kill me instead? She crumpled then, collapsing onto the floor, sobbing. But we were drowning. And you were going to die soon anyway. And I thought it would be easier for everyone. Easier? The word came out harsh. You thought murdering your father would be easier? The officers pulled her to her feet, handcuffed her. As they led her out, she looked back at me one last time. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. The door closed behind her, and I was alone. The investigation uncovered everything. Marcus Chen was arrested the same night. Forensic evidence from Sarah's garden confirmed she'd been harvesting foxglove for months. Her internet search history showed queries like foxglove poisoning symptoms, how to make death look natural, and when do life insurance policies pay out. Most damning of all, Detective Chen's team investigated the death of Marcus's mother. Exhumation and new toxicology tests revealed elevated levels of foxglove in her remains. The supposed heart attack had been murder. Sarah and Marcus had killed before. I would have been their second victim. The trial took place 6 months later. I testified, as did Dr. Walsh. Detective Chen, and a parade of expert witnesses. The evidence was overwhelming. Sarah's defense tried to argue diminished capacity, claimed she'd been manipulated by Marcus, that the stress of her failing business had caused a mental breakdown. But the premeditation was too clear. The cultivation of the poison plants, the manipulation to get me to change my will, the life insurance policy, the calculated timeline. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Attempted murder, fraud, conspiracy to commit murder. Sarah was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Marcus received 25, with the additional conviction for his mother's murder. I sat in the courtroom as the sentences were read, feeling nothing, no satisfaction, no relief, just a hollow emptiness where my daughter used to be. After the trial, I sold the house in Bendigo. Too many memories, both good and poisoned. I moved to a smaller place in Castlemaine, close to nothing and no one. Dr. Patricia Walsh kept in touch. She'd become something of a friend through the ordeal. "How are you doing?" she asked when she visited one afternoon, 6 months after the trial. "I'm alive," I said. "That's more than Sarah planned for me. Have you considered seeing a therapist?" "What you went through." "I know what I went through," I said, perhaps more sharply than I intended. "And Sarah? Have you?" "She writes to me," I admitted. "Every week. I haven't opened a single letter. Maybe you should. Maybe I will. Someday. When I'm ready to forgive her. Right now, I'm still trying to forgive myself." "For what?" "For not seeing it sooner. For being so desperate for my daughter's love that I ignored all the warning signs. For being a fool." "You were a father who loved his child," Dr. Walsh said gently. "That's not foolish. That's human. I've thought a lot about what happened in the years since. About greed and desperation and the terrible things people do when they're drowning. About how money can twist love into something unrecognizable. But mostly, I think about trust. I trusted my daughter. That trust was the weapon she used against me. And that's the hardest part to accept, not that she tried to kill me, but that she weaponized my love. I volunteer at the local community center now, teaching woodworking to teenagers. Some of them come from broken homes, from families where trust was shattered long ago. I see myself in their guarded eyes, their reluctance to open up. "The people who claim to care for you aren't always the ones who do," I told one of them recently. A 16-year-old named Daniel whose stepfather had stolen his inheritance. But that doesn't mean you stop trusting altogether. It means you trust carefully. You verify. You pay attention to actions, not just words. "How do you know who to trust?" he asked. "You don't, not for certain. But you watch. You listen. Does what they do match what they say? Do they show up when it's inconvenient? Do they respect your boundaries? Do they want what's best for you? Or what's best for them?" Simple questions. Life-saving questions. I've learned something else too. Greed destroys everything it touches. Sarah didn't just destroy our relationship. She destroyed her own future, her freedom, and any chance of genuine happiness. The money she wanted so desperately? She'll never see a penny of it. Instead, she has 18 years in a cell to think about what she's lost. And Marcus? 25 years to regret that he chose gambling and murder over building a legitimate life. I've rewritten my will. Half my estate goes to the Castlemaine Community Foundation, supporting youth programs and elder abuse prevention. The other half goes to Dr. Walsh's charitable trust, which helps elderly victims of financial exploitation. Sarah isn't mentioned. That chapter of my life is closed. Sometimes, late at night, I think about opening her letters. I wonder what she says. Does she still claim she's sorry? Does she try to explain? Does she ask for forgiveness? Maybe someday I'll be strong enough to find out. But not today. Today, I'm just grateful to be alive. Grateful for Dr. Walsh's sharp eyes and Detective Chen's thoroughness. Grateful for Jack's friendship and wisdom. Grateful, most of all, that I listened to that voice in my head that whispered something was wrong. Because in the end, that voice, that instinct, saved my life. If you're reading this, and you recognize something in my story, if someone who claims to love you is suddenly very interested in your finances, your estate planning, your life insurance, please pay attention. Ask questions. Verify everything. Trust, but verify. Because the people we love shouldn't leave us wondering if we're safe around them. Love doesn't come with life insurance policies and lawyers and sudden urgent requests for money. Real love shows up without expectation. It cares without calculation. It gives without demanding return. And if someone can't give you that, then maybe they don't really love you at all. Maybe they just love what they can get from you. That's the hardest lesson I've ever learned. But it's also the most important one. I'm 68 now, and I'm starting over. Building a new life, making new friends, finding purpose and helping others avoid the trap I nearly died in. Sarah took a lot from me. My trust, my innocence, the dream of what our relationship could have been. But she didn't take everything. I'm still here. I'm still standing. And every day I wake up is a day she didn't win. That has to be enough.